Hello, spooky friends. Today I have a guest with me.
Hello.
This is my husband, otherwise known as Captain Eggbeard. So today's topic is 5 scary video games. So I am familiar with some of them, but I'm not really a big gamer, but this man is. So first of all, though, before I begin, I want to show you what I am drinking. Well, I should say we are drinking because we've both been drinking it. Bud Light Seltzer. It's part of the fall flannel line that they have right now, and it's just for this season, obviously. This is the pumpkin spice, and oh man, they nailed it. If you're a person that loves pumpkin spice flavor, you have got to try the Bud Light. Oh my gosh, it's awesome. We've had the toasted marshmallow, which tastes straight up like a toasted marshmallow, like a s'more. And then he had the maple syrup and pear, was it? And
It sounds weird, but it's really good.
Yeah, I took a drink to see what it would taste like, and oh my gosh, it too was phenomenal. The only one we haven't tried is the apple, which we love anything that is apple flavored, so I'm sure that's going to be good too. So it's the Bud Light Seltzer Fall Flannel. And I don't know about where you live, but here where we live, it's extremely hard to find. I don't know if places are selling out so quickly like everything else that has to do with Halloween and fall this year or what, but it was very hard for us to find that. And luckily, we found someone that had a connection to a store that we really don't ever shop at. And she told us where to go to get it. We went, and luckily they had it, but they didn't have very many. So I have this idea, and I'm like, you know what? I should go and start stockpiling it. So I have it all year round, but he's not really into me doing that. So I doubt that will happen. Okay, anyway, so let's move on to today's video topic, which is 5 scary video games again. So the first one we're going to talk about is Dead by Daylight. If you have never played Dead by Daylight or even seen any YouTube clips, which there are millions on YouTube of people playing Dead by Daylight, streaming Dead by Daylight, and you love scary video games, definitely give it a check out. I am not good at it. I don't play killer. I play survivor. You can play either or. You can play as a killer, and there are many to pick from, or you can play as a survivor. He is the same way. He likes to play as survivor. What are some of the killers? There's
Well, it's 1 versus 4, 1 killer, 4 survivors. Your basic idea is the killer has to try to either kill the survivors or put them on a hook 3 times, then they're dead, or the survivors have to try to repair generators. And you get 5 generators repaired, then you can unlock a door and escape. The game's not, it's horror themed, but it's not really scary, right? But some of the killers they have a lot of licensed killers like Michael Myers, Leatherface, Pinhead,
Freddy.
And they are true to their character from the movies. So you'll be repairing a generator and Michael Myers is standing right behind you and you don't hear anything because he's silent for the most part, and that'll jump scare you when you see him right behind you.
The movie, oh my gosh, I'm so used to movies on here. The game has, it does have a lot of jump scares, and if you're the type of person that is jumpy to begin with and you play this game, you're gonna scream. It's gonna have, even he screams like a little bitch sometimes, like it's hilarious. So you, you will get a good scare out of it. There's a lot of blood in it too. I don't recommend this game anyone younger than 16 years old, to be quite honest. I wouldn't let my kids, if I had kids and they were younger than 16, I wouldn't let them play it. quite honestly. That's just me, though. That's just me. That's
It's
just
not
my opinion.
too bad. There's blood. There's no real gore.
It doesn't have bad language because you
No.
don't speak. Like, it's grunting and moaning, and I mean, there is a little dialogue, but not very much. And you can't talk to your fellow teammates. It's, you know, mostly by movements, and you know, like, you can make them point in a certain direction. You can move your character up and down. I mean, there's limited movements that you can do to kind of signal your fellow teammates, but not much. There's two modes. There's modes that you can play to accumulate blood points, and you can use those blood points to purchase items and things to help boost your character. But then there's also a version that you can play where you can play the killer and you kill your friends. It's the kill your friends mode. You don't accumulate any points if you play it that way, unfortunately. That mode, you're just basically playing for fun, for the hell of it. We don't really play that just because we want the points. We want the blood points to be able to boost our characters. So after you get, is it 50 blood points, you get what's called prestiged, and that character from like head to toe becomes covered in blood. And what else do you get when you prestige?
Once you reach 50 levels, then you can prestige.
50 levels.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Like, I don't know a lot about this stuff. That's why he's on here with me, because I don't know a lot about it.
So once you reach level 50, you can prestige, and it starts you over from level 1, but you also get either a bloody top, bloody pants or bottom, and also a bloody face. Or for some of the killers, like Michael Myers, you get a bloody knife, a bloody mask, or a bloody jumpsuit. So once you prestige 3 times, then you've gotten all of the bloody items for that character.
Right. So definitely give it a whoa, I just went everywhere. Definitely give it a shot. I think if you're a person that likes scary video games, Dead by Daylight is one that you're definitely going to like. However, you can get into like a like on Xbox, which is how we play it. You can get with your friend, and the two of you can play, but you're going to be in a room with random people.
And you can also get into a voice chat party, but the killer cannot. They have no way of communicating or hearing the survivors. Yeah.
So definitely give it a try. I give it a full 5 stars. Dead by Daylight is one of my favorite video games. I'm not really into horror games all that much. I know that's weird, but I have a weird variety. There's 3 games that I play right now. Dead by Daylight's one of them. Fallout 4 is the second one. Don't get me started on Fallout 76. I'm a big Fallout fan. I've played every single one of them except for Fallout 76, which I refuse to play. I tried it one time and was like, nope, I'm done. Don't get me started on that. And the third one is Forza. I'm a big Forza fan as well. And yes, I am so excited for the new one to be coming out. It's going to be one of my Christmas gifts this year. So, like I said, I have a wide variety of games that I play, and also a very strange one. But anyway, so back to the other games. So Dead by Daylight is available on computer, Xbox, and where else? Or is that it right now?
Everywhere. Nintendo Switch. There's even a mobile version. PlayStation. Yeah. Every platform basically has Dead by Daylight.
So there you go. Give it a shot. And is Dead by Daylight free?
No. It's what runs around $30-$40. You can catch it on sale quite frequently, so it's not your regular $60 price tag.
And there's also in-game buying as well. You can buy different outfits and different items for each
characters. Yeah.
Okay, so next, so that was Dead by Daylight. The second movie that we're going to move into is... Huh? Oh my gosh. Yeah, see what it, like, yeah, I'm so used to movies. Games is Resident Evil. We are Resident Evil fans. I don't play, he plays, I watch.
As with most horror games.
As with most games, period.
Mm.
Because I'm not a big gamer. So, we've played every Resident Evil so far. Resident Evil is available on all platforms.
Yes.
So if you have never heard of Resident Evil, then you live under a rock. Because it's everywhere. It's one of the most popular video games. It has been for several years. So do you want to tell everybody what the main storyline for Resident Evil would be? Because each game is different. Like, the story changes with each game. But the overall...
Yeah, there's an overarching story, but you have different creatures in each game, or sometimes there's variables of enemies. So it's basically a viral outbreak, bioweapons that went wrong and got released. So you end up with, you can have zombies or seemingly intelligent humans that are being controlled almost like a cult, werewolves, all kinds of weird mutated creatures.
The latest Resident Evil, what was the name of it? See, I don't even remember.
Village.
The Village.
Yeah.
I wasn't all that impressed. I guess that's why I don't remember what the name was.
Village was amazing.
I just found parts of it really boring compared to the previous Resident Evil game. I don't know. The ending was good. I will say the ending of that game is really, really good, and it's full of action. And it ties up a couple of loose ends. I really did like the ending to that one.
It did have parts that are not... It fit within the game, but it was a very... It was a huge contrast between going from trying to survive and shooting stuff to going to another area where you're unarmed, searching through a place, and it was more of a psychological horror type spot, which I really enjoyed the variety of that, but it slowed the pace down a bit until you came into danger.
Yeah. Resident Evil is definitely a good game. There is several of them to pick from.
Many.
Yeah. They're, like we said, they're available on all platforms. You can find Resident Evil just about anywhere. I highly recommend, though, if you have never played Resident Evil, you may want to start from the very first one. Otherwise, with some of them, you may get confused because you don't really understand what the characters are even talking about or what the main story is about in that one. So you're not going to get the full story from the game. So I recommend you start from the first one and play through all the way up. And that's going to take quite some time because there are several. Okay, so the third one that we're going to talk about that I know something about, and then I'm going to turn it completely over to Captain Eggbeard, is Silent Hill. And Silent Hill, when it first came out, it was the very first scary video game that I had ever seen, and it really did scare the crap out of me. I don't scare very easily, but when I saw that movie for the first time, it really did mess me up. Let me just say that. I still kind of have this freaky feeling every time it's foggy. And it came from Silent Hill. Like, I'm serious. Like, I never thought about stuff until I saw Silent Hill. And if you have never played Silent Hill or heard of it or seen any type of gameplay with Silent Hill, I highly, highly recommend it. Especially this time of year. You're really going to get the scare factor in Silent Hill. Resident Evil didn't really have a scare factor for me. It was more interesting to me, but not scary. Dead by Daylight, however, does have some scare factors, only like jump scare factors. But Silent Hill, you have jump scare factors, you have scary factors, you've got the creepy factor, you've got blood, you've got gore. It's all in Silent Hill. And I highly recommend Silent Hill for anybody that is into scary video games. You're going to love Silent Hill.
Yeah. Resident Evil had, like it introduced you when you first found out that you were going against zombies. Like that first video scene was a little bit of a shock, possibly, but not so much scary. It's more intense, but Silent Hill was like it's rough because you're almost constantly in fear that you're gonna die. Like,
yeah,
there's no there are areas where you're safe, but you feel like there's no safe place. You're just in a bad spot.
And you've got some pretty creepy ass monsters in Silent Hill too. Pyramid Head.
Oh yeah.
I mean that. Oh.
The nurses. Yeah. Every creature. I mean, getting cannibalized by a gang of little mutated babies.
Yeah. If that sounds crazy to you and you're just like, oh man, you have to see it. Even if you don't play the game, I'm sure that there's millions of YouTube videos on different clips from Silent Hill out there, and you can just watch it. And it's like watching a horror movie unfold. It really is. That's just how the game plays. I mean, like he said, you're constantly on edge because you don't know when something's about to happen. It's one of those games too that no matter how many times you play it, you're still going to jump every single time. It is that good.
The really creepy thing about it is you're in a normal place and then all of a sudden you're transported to this hellish, bloody, rusty, disgusting landscape. Like, you're in the same hallway, it's just gore all over the place, and you know you're about to get it.
Yeah, and that's what makes it such a mind blower, because it just it twists your way of thinking. Because like he said, it's a normal setting, and then all of a sudden in a flash, boom, it's something completely different. And that's what makes it so real, and that's what makes it even more terrifying. Okay, so next we're going to move on to number 4. Take it away, it's all yours.
So number 4 is Visage, which is a game that me and one of my best friends play together. It's not a multiplayer game, but if you are even remotely susceptible to being scared of a game, you are better off playing with someone. Being in a dark room and playing this game, you have a flashlight and it is just surrounded by darkness. If you're not pointing at it, it's not lit up, and something can come after you just out of nowhere at any time. If you think you're safe, you're not. It's horrible. Like, I have to play it in small spurts. Like, it just gets to be too much. It is very, very effective.
He's a very intense gamer. So, and he scares easily. Despite what he says, he does. So, like, he will be playing one of these horror games and he will have the light on and the door shut, and if I open the door, he screams like a woman. It's just so hilarious. But all of his gaming friends that play with him know this, and they think it's hilarious too. So yeah. So what is the main storyline for that game?
You're kind of like, you're trapped in a house, and there's different chapters that focus on a character. Like, you're not the focus of that chapter. The enemy is the focus of the chapter. It's not technically an enemy, but it's the character you need to get away from or you're going to die. Something horrible happened to them and they are haunting the place that you're at. So you go into one chapter and you're going through the house and you're trying to, figure out what happened to them and bring closure to their story. But at the same time, it's not even like places you think are safe. Like you can go throughout the house and turn on the lights, but then you'll run through that same hallway later trying to get away from the enemy, and you think like, okay, I can go down this hall, flip on the lights, I'll be safe for a few minutes. Well, all the switches have been broken and removed out of the walls. Like the game itself just adjusts to keep you unsettled the entire time.
And what was the name of that?
Visage.
Visage is the name of that. And is it available on all platforms?
All except for, I don't believe it's on Switch. As with Silent Hill, is not on the Switch either.
So available on most platforms.
Yeah.
Okay. So Visage, and what is the final scary game?
The final scary game is kind of personally nostalgic for me. It's not very scary anymore. It has a creepy vibe to it. It's called D, just the capital D. So if you go to look it up, you cannot just put in D or you'll get all kinds of results. You have to put D the game or D 1996, I believe, D game. And then there was also a director's cut. I believe it was only released in Japan, called D's Diner, which is basically the same game with a couple extra scenes in it. But if you were to look up D's Diner, you would also get actual restaurant results. So you need to put the game into your search. But so this game was basically a full motion video game where you're not really controlling the character. You have like set scenes. It's like an interactive movie. If you want to go forward, you hit forward and then you'll see the character walk forward. There are some quick time events, like stuff you would see in God of War, stuff like that, when you're fighting a boss and it has you mash the X button a million times to perform an action. This is where that came from. This is the origin of those quick time events. So the character walks into this hospital where a mass murder has taken place. It turns out that it was the character's father that did it. You walk in to do some detective work of your own, research, find out what happened. As soon as you walk in, the place turns into like a castle. So you have to go throughout the place and figure out what happened. What I really like about it is like today the graphics don't hold up well, but you still have really it's like dramatic and creepy, like the look on her face, or everything was made deliberately. There's not a lot of sound, there's not a lot of music, but what is there is very natural sounding and was made with a purpose to get you into the environment.
Are there any jump scares?
Yeah, I mean, not yeah, there's a few which if you trigger those, it will probably result in your death and you have to restart. Speaking of that, there you have like the character has like 2 hours to figure out what's going on, and this is a real 2 hours. There's no saving, there is no pausing, so you have to have you got to be ready to play for 2 hours.
Wow. So there you go. It came out in 1996.
I believe so. Let me look. 95.
Oh, 1995.
Another interesting part to this, the main player character, Laura, she's not a character. She is a digital actor, which is a odd concept. This digital actor was used in another game. It was called Enemy Zero later on. Same actor, but it was not related to D at all. And there was also D2, which featured this digital actor. And D2 was not even related to the first original D. So it's not a character, because if you bring like Chris from Resident Evil into a different game, like a fighting game or whatever, you're bringing it's this character but in a new setting, right? This is just it's the actor, but it's a fake actor, so it's kind of a weird concept.
Yeah, sounds pretty weird. Well, I've never heard of it. Is it available on all platforms?
Kind of. It's pretty old. PlayStation, Sega Saturn, I believe 3DO, possibly. It was also released on MS-DOS, if that tells you how old it is, but I do believe it's also available on Steam now. And it's probably only going for a few bucks. I definitely recommend it just for the experience. Like, it's not scary. There's just a creepy, uneasy feeling that permeates the entire game.
All right, so check it out. And remember, if you're looking it up, you can't just put a capital D in the search, because God knows what you're going to get. And if
especially if you don't have safe search on.
And if you put in D's, you're probably going to get a bunch of other stuff, because immediately when he said the word D's instead of D's Diner, another word popped into my head that's very popular right now, but I'm not going to talk about that. So anyway, so definitely check out D. So the 5 games that we have talked about today are Dead by Daylight, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Visage, and of course D. And these games, except for D, they are available on most platforms. Most, not all, but most. So I'm sure that you can find those games on whatever platform that is your preference. Also, you might YouTube these games first, so you can get some ideas about gameplay, see some clips about it. In case before you buy it, it's kind of like the try before you buy kind of thing.
Definitely with all the others, there's a million playthroughs, probably current people streaming the games, but I know for a fact, as old as is, you're not going to find a streamer, but you can find full playthroughs of D on YouTube. So it'd be interesting, at least just to watch, because that game is mainly just watching. There's not a lot of action to it.
All right, so that's going to do it for today's video, and don't forget to like, and subscribe. And if you want to be notified as soon as I push out a new video, don't forget to hit the bell button. And if you would like to, you can leave a comment down in the comment section below, because we would love to know what are some scary movies that you're playing. And if you have ever played any of these 5 movies that we're talking about right now.
Or games.
OMG games. Please let us know down in the comment section below. Hey, when you have a channel that is nothing but movie reviews, what do you expect? Come on.
Games.
That's going to do it for today's video. And remember, stay spooky, my friends.